Hello, my name is Philip Blue Owl Hooser. Hooser like from Indiana, only without the I. I am a playwright, performer, published poet, those are all my P's, and then my S's are screenwriter and screen performer and storyteller. I grew up in Jefferson City, Missouri, or as I call it, the 19th century. And I escaped here to Kansas City in order to go to college, and I have been here ever since, just loving it. Is there anything else I should say? Anything else you need to know about me? You'll find out more. Just sit there, relax for a while. My very first theatrical experience was playing Mr. Nonsense Book in a book week play that my elementary school librarian wanted to do, because book week, books, librarian. And one of the people who is still one of my best friends today played Mr. Dictionary. And she is dear to my heart, that Janice. And then a couple of years later, I graduated to being Mr. Dictionary when we did it again. And I got to be fun and funny, and I loved having people laugh at stuff that I did deliberately rather than laughing at things I didn't intend for them to laugh at. And that sort of set my course. I knew pretty much from that moment I wanted to perform. Like the December song, I was meant for the stage. While I was in school, I was also performing with other theaters around, notably like Barn Players and other community theaters, as well as Martin City Melodrama, which was great to be at because that was like a whole different experience. It's, you know, people will sometimes poo-poo it, but I'm like, no, it's a different set of muscles to use, because you need to encourage people to be going boo or yay at what you're doing. And you know, I've just had a ball doing that. So I was, you know, even when I was in college, I was out making money at theater, doing it professionally, and continued to do so after that. You know, 7 fat cows, 7 lean cows, as they say. Sometimes there's lots of work and sometimes there's not. And then someone recommended me to an agent, and I started getting commercial and industrial work. And over the course of 7 years, I've made so many, like 1 or 2 industrial films a month.
Yeah, wow.
And you know that, and doing Price Chopper commercials is good money. Well, one of my primary mentors, and as I also say, my goddess and my friend, I am so proud to say, is Felicia Landre. She not only taught me theater history, but I took all of her playwriting classes possible, and I think did like an extra one-on-one playwriting class with her. And she got me started speaking at the Shakespeare Festival that I've done for now over 20 years. And she got me into the Casey Moliere that I have just written a play for, and look forward to its premiering July 24th at 10 in the morning, maybe 11 in the morning. And then the way the rep used to be set up when it was Missouri Rep, there were, actors that would come in from all around the country, and they would develop relationships with the students who were also cast in the shows or were around the shows, and you would learn so much from them. Theater is one of the things, my personal opinion, should be in the guild system, not necessarily in universities, because you learn by doing, and you get to go up a level and up a level until finally, you're Richard Burbage, you're playing Hamlet, or whatever you're playing. But learning from those actors, particularly Richard Halverson, the very recently late Richard Halverson, a dear person and just a dear old queen. I learned so many, life and theater lessons from him. And he always made me happy to be around, even when he would say, you might try doing this. I was talking with Will Latham, and I said,
it's the scientific fact that for every year you live in California, they take away 10 of your IQ points.
And he was like, can you ever play about him? Let's do that. And so it was like, hey, let's put on a show. I know Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney, we can turn them into a barn. And he wanted to do theater. And upstairs at the Prospero's, he'd wanted to do that all along. And so it was like, okay, let's do it. And we did that and got, I'd say at least a couple hundred people up in that tiny little room. Well, probably more than that, but just exciting to do it because I love his story and I love that play. And I think Truman Capote is somebody that people should know more about, which is kind of how a lot of my playwriting is my desire to teach. In my family, if you go to like immediate family of my parents and my cousins and second cousins, there are more than 40 people who are teachers in some capacity in all of those people. And it's in my DNA. My parents are both teachers. I want to teach people something that I have learned. And so when I would quote Dorothy Parker, and people would say, she once said, if all the sweet young things, I was a chaperone at the Yale prom the other night, and if all the sweet young things there were laid end to end, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. And I was like, okay, Dorothy Parker is so funny. You have to know who Dorothy Parker was. And they didn't. So I was like, okay. So I wrote a one-woman show about Dorothy Parker and educated a few people. They got to learn things about her. And the one-woman show I wrote about Lucille Ball from Missy Kuntz at the Unicorn. I was like, there are things about Lucille Ball that people really don't know. I think people are completely out of touch with the whole idea that she was called before the House Un-American Activities Committee and asked to testify because her grandfather had been so well-intentioned in fighting for the poor people. And I was like, that's another thing. Plus, I wanted to give Missy lots of things to do that I think people didn't normally see her doing, because she has so many diamond facets that you can't put all of them in a single show. And I was like, okay, I want people to learn about Missy too. My leg happened really fast. Like one day I kind of went, my foot's, a little sore, a little tender. So I'll just favor it. I won't do much. I won't, walk about. And then the next day it was just a little swollen. And I thought, well, I'll, put some ice on it. I don't know what's going on. The third day it became technicolor. And there was actually a hole that had formed in the middle of my foot. And it's like, this could be a problem. And I went, and it turned out I had, and God knows how I got it, I have no idea, flesh-eating bacteria. I know, and I never go barefoot anywhere, so I don't know how this came to me, but it did. And I went to the hospital and I thought, this feels like this is serious. And it was. They got me into the operating room like pretty much right away. And once they were able to see me at the emergency room at KU, and they took incredible care of me. And the nurse said, we didn't get all the information that we need about you. For instance, she had several questions, one of them being, how tall are you? And I said, Well, I was 5'11", but now I'm a foot short. I think everything's going well. I'm walking, which I love. I very often carry a cane, even though I don't really need one, especially if I'm out in public, because people will open doors for me and they take care of me, and the bus drivers will make things better for me. And I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. It's like holding on to this much of my beard because it's gray hair. It's like, I'm old, people! I've also gotten a lot of great t-shirts out of the experience. I love having these because my idea is I want other people to be comfortable with what is now a disability of mine. I don't want people to look at me and go, oh, poor thing. Although a lot of people do ask, oh, are you a veteran? And I'm like, you know, yes, of the Spice Wars. Because I saw Dune and I lived through that experience. I like to make people laugh. It's too much of the other, and I've experienced it, and I don't want to cause that to be awful. I don't want to cause you any sorrow. I don't want to cause you any pain. I only want to see you dancing in the purple rain, you know? I didn't have like a native name. When I would ask my parents, they would suggest Bull in China Closet. So I was volunteering, working with some elders and some other Native people, and I said, you know, I don't have a name. And they said, well, let's get you a Native name that fits something about you. And so they were very wise, I would have to say, because blue is the color of the mind and of the spirit. And so blue relates to the fact that I have a lot that's going on in here that, you know, it doesn't shut up a lot of the time. The bats are busy in my belfry most days. And owls are said to have two spirits, two souls. And so it sort of worked out that, yeah, that's me to a T. I'm mental, and I'm two-spirit. The first time I heard the concept of two-spirit, instinctively I went, that's it. The Navajo saw 5 genders. There's a lot of working going on there to say, there's 5 genders. And why not? But my people, the Choctaw, had that as part of their tradition. Some did not, very few, but they did not. And as we became Christianized and Americanized, there became more homophobia. But as many of my people learned more about history, that history is showing them that no, this was what was intended all along in our culture. Is you honor the path that people are on, and you go, I don't have to walk that path. They don't walk my path either. But all of our paths, we're all headed for basically the same place. So, you know, sometimes you do it in a moccasin, sometimes in a stiletto. I am excited about a lot of things. I'm excited about being able to walk more. Loving doing that. I'm excited because now I'm able to walk the dog again. I'm excited about the Tartuffe and Thrope play that I wrote for the Casey Moliere. I'm excited about being around people again because I like to share. Sometimes when I share, I go, "Feel like a turn back town."